Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to lay to rest the Phillies 2024 out of the park 24 baseball season. It's a good year. It's a frustrating year at times. It's a 90-win season, so that's not terrible. Won the NL East. That's the biggest highlight of the season. By 7 games, pulling away from the Nationals. Some key highlights in the season. Kyle Schwarber, 46 home runs. Looking down the lineup, Otto Lopez picked up during the season 291. I believe he had like a 356 on base percentage. In the total season, Alec Baum offensively flourished. 287, 24 homers, 85 RBIs out of the 6th, 7th hole most of the season. Good season from JT Realmuto. Average dip towards the end, but 25 home runs for him as well. Emerson Hancock picked up in a trade. He emerges as a potential building block in that starting rotation. Jose Alvarado, 1.80 earned run average. Most of the year as a setup guy. Did get 6 saves down the stretch. But it was not enough. We'll go through that here in a second as we wrap up the 2024 season for the Philadelphia Phillies. As I said, they won that division by 7 games over the rival Nationals. They pulled away as the season went, actually passed. The Nationals were ahead for quite a long time. Looked like they were going to run away with the East. Then they faded. They finished 4 games over 500. But they looked very, very impressive in the 2-game playoff against our Phils. And let's take a quick look at the highlights of Game 1. And here we go. Let's take a look at Game number 1. 2024 Wild Card Series 3-game set between the Phillies and the Washington Nationals. Coming to you from Philadelphia. Game time temperature 66 degrees. Nola 7-11, 4.83 ERA. Disappointing season for him. Gets the strikeout to start the ball game. Move now to the 3rd with no score. It's a line drive by Lorenzo Cain. Ripped to the right center field gap. Brought back in pretty quickly by Rojas. Cain is into second. He gets hurt sliding into second base, and he'll have to come out of the game. Hot shot past Alec Baum down into the left field corner. Schwarber gets it back out. That's a double for Yepes. That'll score Peterson, who came in to run. Nationals up 1-0 here in the 3rd. There's a line drive with runners on the corners. That'll score a run. Runner headed to 3rd. Ruiz is safe. Pollock scores 2-0 Nationals. Go to the bottom of the 5th. Now Cavalli on the mound. JT Realmuto drives that one to right field into the seats. 3-1 ball game. Phillies are on the board. That is their first hit of the night with 2 outs in the 5th. Bryson Stott now. Line drive back up the middle for a hit. That's just the Phillies' 2nd hit. This came with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th. Schwarber up. Slow roller. Whit Merrifield can't handle it. Merrifield, a guy that just was all over the Phillies throughout the regular season. Missed one there. It looked like a window of opportunity for Philadelphia. Base hit from Lopez into left field. One hopper into left field. Schwarber moves up to 2nd. That loads the bases up. Harper at the plate. Swings and misses. Harper a non-factor in these 2 games. Base is still loaded. Nick Castellanos drives that one into the left center field corner. He'll go in the second with a double. All three runners score. Phillies take the lead 4-3. Johan Rojas drives this one into left field, into the seats. 1 out, 3-run home run for Rojas. It's now 7-3 Philadelphia. The fans in Philly getting ready to celebrate. We go to the top of the 7th. There's a line drive. It drops in front of Harper. 2 men on base. They will hold the runner at third base. So bases loaded now for the Nationals with 1 out. Guess who's up? Suarez, wild pitch. Ranger Suarez in the bullpen for the playoffs. Was in the starting rotation most of the season. Moves down as the Phillies shorten up their rotation. That scores a run that makes it 7-4. There's a strikeout for Rosario. A.J. Pollock now. He lifts this ball into right. Harper's there to catch it. Stays at 7-4. Not a great appearance for Ranger Suarez. But the Phillies are up by 3. Now we go to the top of the 8th. Kyle Finnegan in the ball game. 3.26 earned run average in the regular season. The slow roll to the outfield wall for Schwarber gets it back in. Belvis into third with the triple. But he comes up hurt on that slide, much like Lorenzo Cain, who was in center field as well. He had to come out of the ball game. So runner on third, nobody out. Finnegan with the walk. So that puts Mondesi on first. Finnegan still on the hill, nobody out. Runners on the corners. That pitch hit into right field. Harper has it. Fires home. Here comes the runner. Throw offline. Run will score. It's a 7-5 ball game. Harper charged with an error on the throw. Harper, with all his offensive struggles this year, his defense had been outstanding, especially his arm. Finnegan misses that one. Ball 4, another walk for him. So runners on first and second with 1 out. Now we go to Kyle Dohe. Been very effective through this regular season. He cannot get Juan Soto. That ball is into the right field seats. Soto hits a 3-run homer. That makes it an 8-7 Nationals lead here in the 8th inning. Dohe's still in the ball game, 2 outs. Hit the other way, past Lopez. Base hit. Cody Morris now in the 8th. Cody Morris moved into the closer role. If he came into this series, you'd think the Phillies had the advantage in the bullpen, even with their injuries. Cody Morris as the closer, as I said, in the 8th. Gets the strikeout of Rojas. Now we're going to go to the 9th inning. Blake Trinan on the mound, just trying to keep it a 1-run ball game. And he can't do it as that one's hit over Harper's head. It's off the fence. Harper gets it. Eventually gets it back in. Castro's in at third with 1 out. Infield pulled in. Line drive past a drawn-in Alec Baum. That will score a run. It's now 9-7 Nationals extending their lead. That's a 2-run single, 10-7 Nationals with a 3-run lead now. Trinan's still on the mound. And that ball is hit high, deep, and way out of here into the concession area. If you've been to Citizens Bank Park and you're out there getting a beer or a hot dog, you might have got hit by that one. That thing was smashed 451 feet. Nats now lead 11-7. We will go to the bottom of the 9th. Cody Morris was in for the 8th. We got a runner on third, Schwarber at the plate, but he can't get it done. He swings and misses to end this ball game. That is the end of the game. Game 1 is over. 11-7 Nationals win that one. got to the 7th inning with a lead. You'd think that would be a benefit for the Phillies. You think that would be one that they would hang on to, but they did not do it. So let's take a quick look now at Game 2. Game 2 matchup, Clayton Kershaw on the hill for the Phillies. Whit Merrifield will be leading off Game 2 of the MLB Wild Card Series for the National League. Kershaw 13-6, 4.38 ERA. First batter of the ballgame flies out to Rojas. One down. Kershaw would be pretty effective in this one. Aiden taking on Kershaw for the Nationals. And early on here in the bottom of the second, looked like the Phillies were going to get to him a little bit. JT Realmuto hits his second home run of the series, makes it 2-0. Phillies out to an early lead. Go now top of the third. Ruiz on first. Kershaw still on the hill. Line drive picked up by Baum. He'll flip over, double play. Go to the top of the fifth now. The Phillies lead at 4-0. Juan Soto hammers that one into, I believe that where the Phillies have the plaques up top there. That one was 470 feet. Juan Soto having himself a heck of a series. Gets the Nationals on the board. That was just their second hit here in the top of the fifth. 4-1 ball game. Ruiz with a runner on first. He lines to right field. That drops in for a single. Nationals have 2 men on with 1 out, top of the fifth. Kershaw's pitch is hammered backhanded by Stott, but his throw can't be handled at second base. Bad throw. Rosario goes to third. Ruiz is safe at second. So life for the Nationals. That should have been out number 2. Kershaw now bases loaded, infield pulled in. Campo comes in and makes the catch on a little flare pop-up. That's your second out. Kershaw now gets a fly ball center field. Rojas makes the catch. Kershaw gets through it with a little bit of damage. 2 runs in the inning, but the Phillies are up 4-2 going into the bottom of the fifth. Kershaw now back on the mound, top of the sixth, still 4-2. That ball hammered left center field just off the top of the fence. Gets around Rojas. Schwarber picks it up, gets it back in. But a leadoff double for Garcia. Garcia had a pretty good series as well, but Juan Soto was the man in this one. Line drive back up the middle, base hit. Soto just hitting everything the Phillies threw at him in this series. That scores the run. 4-3 now. Phillies lead by 1. Rydell Martinez now checks in this game in the 7th inning. Martinez had been good early for the Phillies, faded late, but he's one of their better arms out there. A good young arm in Martinez. Leadoff single. Castro to the plate. He'll hit one on the ground. Baum up with it. Decides to go to first with it. If he didn't have his play at second, he made the smart play just to make sure they get it out. Martinez now still on the hill with 1 out, 2 strikes. That ball is hammered to center field, going way back and gone. Another one that looks like it might hit that concession area. 422 feet on that one. That one might have come up a little short of the food lines, but very well hit. Out of here, puts the Nats up 5-4. You hear the Philly fans letting the pitching staff have it. 2 days in a row, the Phillies took a lead into the 7th, only to have the bullpen give it up. That ball hammered to center field, just dead on these pitches are the Nationals. Rojas has no chance. Merrifield hits the fly ball out, 427 feet on that one. The Nationals now up by 2, 6-4. Phillies up in the bottom of the 7th. There's one. Stott beats out the throw. Nationals can't turn the double play. Mason Thompson on the hill with 1 out. That ball hit very hard by Schwarber and into the right field seats. Phillies tie this game up at 6. If Schwarber's hot, the Phillies are going to get hot. So that's a great sign for the Phillies. He hit that one 422, game tied at 6. We go now to the 8th. Jose Alvarado comes in the 8th in this one. Did not come in the 8th in the first game. They were saving him for the 9th. This game, they decided to go to him to get Soto. Nobody's getting Soto out in this series. He leads off with a double, 2-strike pitch. Soto takes it, hammers it. Alvarado now deals to Pollock. Pollock hits that one off the right center field wall. That will score Soto. Pollock in the second with the double. The Nationals just grabbed that lead right back. 7-6. Even Alvarado getting touched up now for the Phillies. Cody Morris now in the 8th inning again. Cody Morris in again. Gets the strikeout of Baum. Baum's been a clutch guy. He couldn't come through in the bottom of the 8th for the Phillies. JT Real Muto now with 2 outs. The 0-2 pitch swung and missed. Real Muto goes down on strikes. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Cody Moore still on in this thing. Gets Campo to swing and miss. There's 1 down. Bryson Stott at the plate with 1 out. Stott hammers that thing. That's going to one-hop off the right center field wall. Stott will pull up at second base. So the tying run on second with 1 out. Phillies season on the line. Kyle Schwarber at the plate. Hits the fly ball, but did not get all of it. That'll be caught and right. So now there's 2 down. The Phillies down to their last out. It will be Otto Lopez at the plate. 291 on the regular season. Could not get it done there. He swings and misses. That's your ball game. The Nationals hang on to win this one 7-6. Sweep out the Phillies in Philadelphia in the wild card series. Phillies are done. The Nats move on. Give it to the Nationals. They just played a great series. They scored 18 runs in 2 ball games against the Phillies pitching staff. The Phillies starters 9th in the National League, and as we've said many times, the bullpen was first. Without Gallegos, without Osuna, maybe it's not the best bullpen in the National League, but definitely not the best bullpen in the National League, but still some good arms down there. But they were just hammered. The Nationals are all over them. The Phillies score 13 runs in 2 games and can't get a win. Went into the 7th inning in both of these games with the lead. That is normally a recipe for success for the Phillies. My thinking coming into the series was, if we can get 6 out of our starters and turn it over to the bullpen, even though it's depleted, it's still good enough that we should be able to do things. If we got Ranger Suarez down there, we've got Alvarado to close things out. Dohe had been very strong, so I thought we had some really good lefties to match up against their guys. Didn't work. The Nationals got it done. All right, so season's over. This was a 2023, or a out of the park 23 team that I continued into 24, and that's one of the reasons why I've said many times that the roster is very, very much different than what you would see in real life, or you don't see somebody like Trey Turner at shortstop, something like that. So I have to decide if I'm going to continue this thing for another year. I probably am going to play out another season with this team, because there's a couple of minor leaguers that we've never talked about that I picked up that I would just love to see if they develop into anything or not. I don't think we have anybody that's necessarily a year away that'll be on next year's team, though. So we'll have to see. I have to take a look at the latest rosters for the Phillies and see if I want to jump onto that team and move on with that. But 3rd season in on this one. This was, I think, the best season we've had in the 3 seasons that I've played out. Actually, last season we ended up almost 10 games under 500 with the 15th bullpen in baseball. So that's why I like to say that this was the best bullpen in the National League, because that was a huge change from the year before. guess what I'd like to throw out to anyone who is watching this on YouTube, or I'll post this in the Out of the Park 24 forums as well. What do you think? Is this a team that if Osuna and Gallegos, or just even Osuna, had been healthy, does this team win either of these games? Is it still alive? Was this team one good relief pitcher away from moving on to the next round? Or is this a flawed club that needs some big changes? If you have any thoughts in there, feel free to comment under the video or jump into the forums, the Out of the Park 24 forums. This is posted under the Dynasty section. I'll put the link under again, like I did the last time we did a video like this. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think, because I'm not 100% either way. There's part of me that wants to just make a big move and change this team up, and I'll tell you why that is, and that's because I hate the defense. I think a lot of our pitching struggles, well, I mean, the Nationals just hammered us. So outside of that, but through the regular season, through 162 games, there's a lot of games that we dropped that we could have won if we just make a defensive play, catch a fly ball, or turn a double play that we don't turn, that sort of thing. So if that's the case, then I think that's a pretty big change to this team, because I don't see a single free agent out there, or, I'm going to scout out some trades and see what we can do there. But yeah. So thinking that, getting your feedback would be very interesting, because I also do think, though, if Osuna had been healthy, it's a very different series. It's a very different series, because then Alvarado does come in the 8th, and Osuna's ready for the 9th in game 1. And those two guys have been very, very good in that role. That would have been maybe a different outcome in that game. You never know. And game 2 as well. It could have been very different. But yeah, your thoughts would be appreciated. I would love to see that. Next video, what we're going to talk about is off season, and we'll also talk about whether we've decided to continue with this team or move on to something different, change it up a little bit. But things that would just like a teaser on stuff like that, things that we're looking at for changes on this team is the biggest one is Zach Wheeler. Zach, I like Zach Wheeler. I'm a big fan of Zach Wheeler. He obviously didn't pitch very well this year. I often struggle, how do I say this, with my pitching often struggles. Sometimes I think part of it's the Phillies defense is bad. Excuse me. But like Aaron Nola, 4.83. If that's one season here or there, I like that about this game, where it's not locked in. Guys are going to have good seasons and bad seasons. But Zach Wheeler, 4.98 ERA. We've got Kershaw, so he's taking some money. Nola is taking up some money. Hancock's going to be cheap for a while. I don't think Ranger needs to get paid big time. First off, his stats don't warrant it, but I don't even know if he'll be our 5th or in our starting rotation next year. I might permanently make him a bullpen pitcher. Just depends on who we can pick up. But Zach Wheeler is in the last year of his contract. This was his last year of his contract. So the money he was asking for an extension, I couldn't afford it if I wanted to. So most likely he's not coming back next year. And oops, hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. Most likely he's not back next year. What I'm going to try to do with Zach, I'll just tell you right now, is I'm going to let him walk. And when he goes to free agency with a 4.98 ERA in about 100 and some innings, about 110 innings pitched this year, I'm going to see if anybody pays him. Maybe we can save some money because, well, let's take a quick look. So yeah, this is supposed to be next video, but here I go. If you talk contract extension with him, he's looking at 5 years, average salary of 18.2. So $91 million over 5 years. He's 34 years old. If he's got a 4.98 ERA this year, I don't want to know what I'm getting when he's 39. All right, so there's most likely Wheeler's gone, so we got to fill that spot. Some other things that you'll see changes. Blake Trinan, he's been up and down. Sometimes he's effective, sometimes he's not. That 4.35 ERA tells a story that he's good, he's bad. He has those days, but he's, I believe, 36. So we're probably moving on from him. Again, we'll see what kind of money he's getting offered in free agency. I've got young guys. Backup catcher Marchand is still with the team. Probably time to move him out because I think he's got some value. Juan Guzman is someone that we talked briefly about a few weeks ago. He could play third. He can play second. He can even play a little shortstop. He's played at first in spring training. He's a guy with pop, but not much contact. But he's a very good defensive third baseman. So if we're looking to up our defense, do we keep him? Do we move him? It's a guy that could potentially hit 25, 30 home runs if he played every day. He's probably going to hit 230, 220. But if you need some pop in your lineup like a lot of teams do, maybe somebody's interested in him. Alex Campo, a guy I really like, is a very good defensive corner outfielder. Was very good first baseman. Did not hit like we expected he would this year, and he played quite a bit. We played him in center field. I don't know if out of the park models that sort of thing where you're playing a guy out of position and if it affects his offense. This game is very realistic. Who knows if that's in the game or not? But yeah, he didn't come through like we thought he would. Is that someone we move as well? And then there's also the other look is, what is our most valuable chip on this team? When I look at this team, I think the most valuable person on this team is Kyle Schwarber. Now, he's got 1 year left on a contract. He's making, since we're going to talk about it, let's look. He's making $20 million next year. I believe that's correct. $20 million next year. Yeah, it'll be 32 next year. $20 million. He hit 46 home runs. What does he get us? He's very, very, like I said in the highlights of that last game, if he gets hot, the Phillies get hot. It's really tough to let a guy like this go. But if that's what we're talking about doing, if we don't think we're for real, then it's probably time to move him. So yeah. So anyway, looking for your thoughts. Gallegos is a 9 to 10 month injury still. Osuna, Rhys Hoskins will both be back for spring training. Shouldn't be any lingering issues with those two guys. So, yeah, this has been the playoffs, the very brief playoffs for the Phillies out of the park 2024 baseball season. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Go to the Out of Park 24 Dynasty category under the forums. I'll put a link below because I always keep messing it up when I tell you where it is. But I do appreciate there have been some views there, and I welcome some comments in there, especially about where this team should go. Is it for real? Should we just break it up and start looking at the minor leaguers? The next video, I'll play out through the playoffs, update you on who won the World Series. We'll look at who's free agents, who's available, who we can afford. That part of it doesn't look real good. We don't have a ton of money. So another reason why maybe it's time to move on from some folks that are making some money. All right. Again, thank you for tuning in. And this has been Philadelphia Phillies Playoff Push, the 2024 season.